back to Studio60 Live. In the last segment, we had Ms. Shruti Jeevaraj, who spoke to us about campus placement at Manipal University, Dubai. Currently in the studio with us, we have Ms. Nour Younis from InternsME, who is the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at the organization. InternsME is the first video resume career portal for students and graduates in the Middle East. It connects students with employers by networking through internships, freelance, temporary and full-time opportunities. Ms. Younis will talk to us more on how to prepare students for interviews. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Ma'am, can you tell us more about your role at InternsME?
Well, as the Marketing and Communications Coordinator, I tend to deal with the universities and the students, helping them with employability. I was at your university just last week, talking about employability as well and grooming. So yeah, I pretty much connect between the students, the universities, and InternsME.
Okay. So ma'am, can you tell us more about video message and how to make a resume, video resume, and how is it different from print resume?
Okay. Well, a video CV is a 45-second to 1-minute intro of yourself, telling employers why they should hire you, right? It doesn't, many people think it replaces the CV, but it actually doesn't. It complements it. Many times when you're a fresh graduate, you don't really have the experience to speak for you, right? So you look at people, fresh graduate CVs, and there's just nothing really to say other than their education, extracurricular activities. But obviously there's more to them, from their ambitions, their communication skills, their personality, their soft skills. These are things that you can't really show on a CV. And through a video resume, you could show them.
Okay, so is there any specific format to be followed in order to make a video resume?
I wouldn't say so. It's not like a 1 + 2 = 3 formula.
Okay.
It's more, when you make a video resume, you have to think of it as telling a story. Everybody has a story to tell, a different way they want to be seen. How do you want to be seen by the employer? And that's another thing. Other than its visibility over paper, it's personality over paper, and you get to be the best you are. When you go to an interview, so many times you're so nervous, you say the wrong things, and with a video resume, you can record, re-record, do it as many times until you get it right.
Okay, so looking at the industry trend right now in UAE, do you think recruiters would actually want fresh talents in their teams?
Definitely. Many companies are realizing the importance of having a good mix between experienced people, fresh talent. Like, everybody has something to bring, and fresh graduates have a lot to bring in terms of, now we could say, their technology, technology and their love for things like that. So yeah.
What do actually recruiters look for in fresh talents? Like, are there any set skills that they look for?
In this case, they're definitely not looking for their experience, because they don't have that. Definitely their personality, their communication skills, their ambition. These are things that really do matter and make you who you are. So if you're going in just with your degree with no experience, how do you get the job done? Other than based on your education, you're going to have the ambition or the want to do good at what you're doing and learn more and achieve, right? So these are all things that they would look for other than experience.
Okay. So there are few students who have not done internships or don't have any work experience. Okay. So for them, what would you suggest? Like, what do they do in order to improve themselves?
They're still in university?
Yeah.
Okay. I would definitely suggest doing things outside the classroom, like extracurricular activity, networking, being a part of sports clubs, clubs and societies on campus. I'm sure you guys have a lot of those as well. They're like so diverse. Through little things, there's always something to learn. For example, if you're part of the debate club, there's so much to learn in terms of communication skills. And if that's something, for example, you're media students, if you were part of the debate club, that would be on your side, considering that you're learning a skill or working with a skill that will add to what you want to do in the long term. So think of things they get involved in terms of what added skill can they gain or improve that will contribute to what they want to do in the future.
Okay, so being a student, I would want to know what type of questions do they ask at interviews?
So many different kinds. Well, it definitely depends on the person that's interviewing you, the role you're getting interviewed for, what they're expecting of you. For example, if you're going for an engineering role, it's going to be probably more technical, whereas other people. Other roles might be more based on communication or previous work experience. Typically, they're interested in your education, your skills, your knowledge of the job, what you can bring to the job. That's another really important thing going to an interview, is knowing what you want and knowing what you can offer as well. Because when someone hires you, they don't hire you just to be there and get paid and be there.
Yeah.
They hire you because they believe that you can get the job done based on how your interview goes, right?
Yeah.
It's not just because you answered all the questions right in an interview, they're going to give you the job straight up. So that's something really important. Types of questions, again, really vary. There's introductory questions. There's so many different kinds.
Okay. Okay, so suppose I'm asked an introductory question, so what am I supposed to actually say? Like, am I supposed to mention everything I've done, or just like what's my name, what I've done and all that? What would you say?
Okay, this is kind of a trick question that many people don't put as much thought into, I would say. One introductory type question would be, tell me a little bit about yourself. Different people will answer that question differently.
Yeah.
And we're all complex beings that have different sides, right? So if I were going to if I am a business graduate, but I'm going into something to do with social work or with NGOs, would my degree really make a difference?
Actually, no.
I don't
No, it wouldn't. So would I introduce myself as Nour Younis, the business student, or would I introduce myself as Nour Younis, the one that's been dedicated to the Red Crescent, to the Emirates Environmental Group, to clubs and societies on campus, to orphanages around the UAE and India? Would I introduce myself as that, or Nour Younis, graduate from Manipal in business administration?
No, I think business administration wouldn't help.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it all depends on how you want to be seen. If you don't have the education for it, but you have the skills and previous work experience for it, that's the way you can present yourself.
Okay.
At the end, it's how do you want to be seen? And it gives an employer a lot, it tells an employer a lot about what you think about yourself, which is also really important too.
Yeah. And so, ma'am, now you've spoken about the questions that you can ask. Now, what about the questions that you shouldn't ask the interviewer? So, what should the the employer be careful of asking?
You mean we should be careful of asking
Yeah.
the employer? One trick one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? How answering that is, that's more on the answering side, but that is a trick question. If you're, for example, getting interviewed by the marketing manager for a marketing assistant role, and you answer that saying, I want to be the marketing manager, you're asking for their job.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Definitely don't ask about salary in the first interview. That's something that comes later. Sick leaves, I wouldn't ask about that. Vacations, things like that are things you should totally avoid in the first interview.
Okay.
The way you answer questions is also just as important as asking the right questions or not asking the wrong question in that case.
Okay. The salary question that you just mentioned, that's asked, obviously, frequently it's asked.
Yeah.
So how should we answer that question?
What are your salary expectations?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong answer to that, depending on really what you think of like how you value or what skills you believe you can get. But never think of yourself as in, just because I'm a graduate of this, I have to get a minimum of that. You know, never think of yourself in that. Think of yourself in terms of added value you can bring, right?
Okay.
So if you could actually prove that this is something that you can do and this is something that you're definitely going to do a good job in, then yeah. But if it's something that you're just basing on market price, just because I'm going to be a graduate of this, having a seat at this company, I need that.
Okay.
Get it? So kind of balances off. I would give a range, wouldn't exactly give a number because you never want to shoot too high or too low as well.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Researching what the company offers does help. Lots of research before an interview. That's about it for that one.
Okay.
Okay. Would you want to give some grooming tips to the fresh graduate?
For what exactly?
For communication, how to dress up, what not to say, what to say, and all that.
For an interview, I would say that you really want to be prepared. There's many different types of interviews. It could be your one-on-one, it could be a panel interview, a group interview. So you really want to be prepared, different types of interviews. You want to be prepared for the types of questions they expect you to know the answers to. You want to research the company really well, research who's going to be interviewing you. That's also really important. And you just want to be yourself. And one thing is to never, like for example, if you go in an interview and you know that they're looking for a person that's going to go in, sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5, get the job done, and just leave, and you don't think that's you're not the person that wants to sit at a cubicle. You want to be thinking outside the box, going out and about, doing your own thing, improving things, and this is just not what they want. You could probably fake being that person just because you want the job. But you also have to remember that at one point or another, whether it is 1 week into the job, a month, days into the job, you're going to crack. Because if it's not what you want and it doesn't fit the basics of what you need, like what you want, don't lie just to get the job. It's okay, you'll get something else. So that's also really important. Many people accommodate during interviews just to fit in because they've researched so well and done everything so well. But if it's not what you want, then don't do that.
And ma'am, lastly, what message would you like to give the fresh graduates who want to get in for a job or an internship immediately after college?
Well, if they haven't registered with InternsME, they should do that.
Okay.
Other than that, really just research the industry you're interested in. The companies, if you're interested in a certain company, think of it in terms of career growth, achievements the company has been involved in. The environment's so important. If you're not a cubicle person and that's what they have to offer, then it's not the place for you. Never go just based on salary. Salary doesn't really help. You could be paid 1 million dirhams a month, but if you're not doing something you enjoy, or if the environment is not for you, that's definitely not the place you want to be in. So always remember that. Networking is so important when you're a fresh graduate. You want to become visible. You want to be involved with the pretty much networking is really, really important. People underestimate that. And staying positive is definitely really, really important. Always ask people for advice, whether it is your professors, your parents, your family, whoever it is that you go to. Never think that you're doing the right thing just because you've decided that. And yeah, just stay positive and register with InternsME if you haven't.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you for having me.
That's all we have from the studio for now. Until next episode, keep watching Studio 60 live.
My son!